Namaskaram, my friends. I hope you can hear me well and you can see me properly. If you can, could you write yes in the chat box so I know that you all can hear me well. Welcome Pari, welcome Priya, welcome Bhuvan, welcome from Ochi, welcome Shamji, Pooja, Sharad, all the friends who can. Okay, I'm glad you could hear me well. So a lot of you have probably been aware of this Shiva Walks program and you've attended the earlier webinars, or maybe you haven't. So I don't know if you really know what the intent of this webinar is. I won't make it long drawn. I'll make it short, simple, crisp, so that there's some takeaway for you. These times are such, what a good time actually. You know, if you look at this as an opportunity, it is a huge amount of opportunity for you. But if you look at it as a scary period when you're fearful, what will happen, all of that is going to be a little difficult. So I also have my daughter here today. Her name is Srishti. Welcome, Srishti. And so she is another person who, I don't know where she's from. Anyway, so this entire this webinar, the intent of this webinar is to take you into the spiritual realm of where each one of us is today. And of course, this happens a lot in Jageshwar because it's a consecrated space. But before I go on to my slideshow and show you all those beautiful sights of Jageshwar, let me tell you, the intent of this webinar is to put you on your inner journey. I'm not a guru, I'm a seeker myself, and I have a guru. It's my responsibility as his disciple, as his devotee, to take everyone on a spiritual journey. Whatever I can show, I can only take the horse to water, but I can't make him drink. It's important for you to understand where you are today. Ask yourself that, and then carry on with this journey with me. All that I'm going to talk about is sort of spiritual entertainment because it's not real experience. Your real experience will only happen when you start doing it yourself, when you start working upon it yourself. I can't lead you into your inner space. I can't go in there with you, but you can, into your inner space. So this is what Shiva Walks is all about. Shiva Walks, I'll tell you my story. In 2013 is when I finished building this lodge in Jageshwar. And it was a very spiritual experience for me. In 2007, when I went there, I found this little spot. It had just rained, and I was sitting there. Let me show you the visual. You'll be pleasantly surprised what it was like, and I won't have to talk to you very much about it. And there were dewdrops on these trees, and it had just rained in the afternoon. It was the sun was out. It was shimmering, and something gripped me. I don't know what it was, and I just felt so much at peace. And I was sitting in that spot, wondering, when will I be here again? And then, as it so happened, a few weeks later, I got a call through someone that, look, there's a little piece of land which is available. Would you like to buy it? And the local gentleman from there happened to be Panditji. He offered that land to me. So I went, and you won't believe it, it was the same piece of land where I was sitting. And so I said yes. And I didn't have too much money then. And I was going through, some sort of partnership that was not very successful. Anyway, with that commitment to be there and to do something about it, I built a little lodge. And it was more like a home. And then in 2013, I had bad health problems. I had problems to do with blood pressure and diabetes was creeping in, and I was obese. And there was something which was not so happy. If I tell you that I had two minds, one mind was telling me, "Hey, you're an adventurer. You got to be traveling, and you got to do all the stuff that you have to do in life." And there was another mind, part of the mind that was slapping me and telling me, "Hey, how could you do that? You got responsibilities and you're thinking of good fun. It's not possible." And he would you know make me sit down, and I didn't know what to do. So there was complete confusion. Anyway, in May, i I started this lodge, and I didn't know how to sell, what to sell, what to do about it, how to make its ends meet. I had a group arrive there, a friends group, called Mafia. So Mafia is run by a friend of mine called Gutpal. He's a theater artist, and he's a film artist. He runs a small e-group called Mafia. Mafia stands for Musicians, Artists, Filmmakers, Interesting Log Aa Jao. So it was really funny. Anyway, so it was Addabazi. And about 12, 13 of those people, they congregated, and then they came there, and then they were just having fun. It was a pretty place. And there was one person who was more like an energy seeker. So he was doing his kriyas. I had no clue what kriyas were. I had never even heard the word kriya. And this man was doing various things, and he was taking out these noises and voices, and I didn't know what he was doing. So I said, "What are you doing?" So he says, "Look, this is my spiritual journey." So I said, "How does it help?" So he says, "It's like, everybody wants to ask this question, what use is it? How will I use it? What will be my takeaway from this?" Everything is about transactional nature. Even I had the same transactional nature. So he says, "Look, you're not too well, and I can see you popping in pills. Why don't you do this program, which is there in Delhi, happening next month, and it'll help you." I said, "How will it help me?" He says, "You can get rid of your diseases." I said, "Really?" And which means that you don't have to go to the doctors ever again. I didn't believe it. So I saw him do that for 2 or 3 days, and I said, "I'm intrigued. I want to know more about it." So he started talking about paranormal things and other things. I was interested, something that pulled me towards it. So I went and did inner engineering. First, I told him, I said, "Look, I have no faith in gurus, and I'm not going to any guru." So he says, "Well, how does it matter whether it's guru or not? You getting something for such a cheap price, you should go ahead and do it." Again, transactional nature. I said, "Okay, yeah, no problem. It's worth a try, because it'll save me huge amount of headache, and I'll be able to regain my health." And then I went and I did that program for 1 week, and I got really deep into it. 6 months down, not even 6 months, I think it was 4 months down the line, I went and saw my doctor, and I'd lost a lot of weight by then. And the nature of the practice is such that I didn't have to do very much. I just had to stick to my practices, and my body started to reject all the toxins, all the food that was not required by my body, all those things, all the vices I gave up. And then it brought me to a stage where the doctor said, "Hey, I think the reports that you got me are doctored. You should go and get another set of reports, because there's nothing showing in here. And you're a chronic patient." So I said, "Well," I went again and I got my test done from a different lab. Again, there was nothing. So my doctor's jaw dropped. His first thing is, "How could you lose so much weight in such a short span of time? And then how is it that your reports are not showing anything? Anyway, you should continue with your medication, because I've prescribed this medication to you for 150 years. So I said, "Okay." I said, "Okay, fine, that's fine, no problem." And for 2 months I continued. I wasn't easy. It wasn't, so I went back to him with another set of report which had nothing. And he says, now you're liberated, you're free from all these things. You never have to get back to this sort of medication. It's very rare to see people go off medication. So that was my story. And my health started to come back, and my business started to grow properly, and my clarity of thought and happiness and all those things which were not going right for me started to go right. And I also found my people back. I went and got my relationships back, my friends back, all of that. And I also understood that there was so much freedom, so much joy, which I even have today. I might get rattled with all those things which are happening today, but I'm living for today. I'm not overly concerned about tomorrow, because I'm just taking the right steps, and then whatever happens, happens. That's karma, which I will talk about. So I hope this is of interest to you. If this is of interest to you, please stay on and enjoy this journey. This journey is all about interesting place called Jageshwar, beautiful sights, beautiful experience, and I'm taking you through a virtual journey, really. And I'm transporting you in a truck, which is going to make you fly into this space. So if you're interested, just type yes in the chat box, so that I know that I've got people listening to me. I'm happy to have you here today. Really happy to have you here today. And so if you can just type yes, then I know that you're interested in my story. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. So this is about Jageshwar. So Jageshwar is a small temple town, extremely powerful temple town, about 40 kilometers from Almora, going to Pithoragarh. And it is surrounded with devdas. There are devdar forest all across. The moment you leave Almora, you drive about 32 kilometers, and the devdar forest will start. Start from Artola, where you turn in and you go into Jageshwar. This is the magic of these forests. You see a little cluster of temples right there. There are 3 clusters, and these 3 clusters comprise 125 temples, and a whole lot of them are live temples. They are temples which are reverberating energy, and they have been consecrated by yogis over hundreds of years. And there's a lot of energy there. It's like an energy bowl. You can see that it's like a little bowl, and it's reverberating with energy. So if you're an energy seeker, you can immediately, moment you get in there, you'll know what I'm talking about. Even if you're not an energy seeker and you're just a holiday maker, there will be something that will make you stay on. There will be something that will call you back there. What is that? What is it that is connecting to your inner being? So that's what we're going to look at. Again, some of the sights of this early morning sunrise, and the stream flowing through. So there are hundreds of these sites. That's just to give you an idea what this place is all about. When you drive up or drive out of this valley, then you get these sites of Nanda Devi, Trishul, Panchachuli, the entire mountain range. It's teeming with wildlife, with birds, natural surroundings, different kinds of, if you're a butterfly expert or butterfly enthusiast, this is the place to go. If you're a tree expert, this is the place to go. So, and you can see the drive into Jageshwar. Friends, I'm not trying to sell you a place. I'm trying to show you the experience that you're going to have. Even if you go for a holiday, it is something that will touch your inner being. Yeah. So when we leave Almora and we are on our way to Jageshwar, we stop at a very powerful temple. This is called Chitai. It's a Golu Devta's temple. And it's a temple where there's a linga that's been consecrated, and there are lots of yogis who have meditated here. This place is full of bells, and it's a sound of the bells that produce the energy here. So it's believed that Golu Devta is the Lord of Justice. So if you've got, he was a king, he was a lot of his a spiritual king who would give you justice. So if you've got any sort of problems, court cases, complaints, all of that, it's believed that you just go and put your affidavit, or you put your application there, and he will sort it out for you. Depending on what your manifestation is, depending on what your belief system is, it will happen for you. There are godowns full of these bells. They don't know what to do with them. They can't smell them because that's not the rule of the game. And then you enter Jageshwar, and then you have these Cholia dancers who resemble the Scottish bagpiper, music players. And then so they're all over. So Cholia dancers are from Kumaon, and they've got this typical attire which they will get dressed in, and they have typical music that they will play. It's really interesting to see them perform during festivals, during weddings, and other occasions. Jageshwar is probably one last town, or maybe one of the last towns in Kumaon, which still have carved doors and windows and old houses made out of stone and mud and slate and wood. And there's a lot of science in it. There's longevity. There's a reason for those houses to be like that, which I will talk about. The time is short, and we've got only about an hour to go. We've got about 40 minutes to go. So I will try and cover as much as possible. And you can see there are tourists here. They've been coming for years to our lodge. These are some of the temples. These temples were built between 7th and the 15th century, 12th century, by different dynasties, different kings, Katuri Rajas, Chand Rajas, and Malla Rajas. And so these clusters, there are 3 clusters. One is the Kuber cluster, the other one is Gandeshwar, and the third one is the Jageshwar cluster. Jageshwar cluster is where you have Jageshwar Dham, and you also have Mahamrityunjay temple. It is believed that the Linga Puja started from here. The Linga prayer started in this place. It is believed to be a Jyotirlinga, which is, so a lot of people say it's a shared Jyotirlinga with Nageshwar, and some people say it's an independent Jyotirlinga. If you're an energy seeker, even if you're not, and if you're open to the idea of energy or meditation or yoga, you'd be able to go and sit there and imbibe all this place has to offer. It is surrounded with all the 5 elements. You have fire burning there, you have water running there. The air is so pure. You're in that space. The space is such, and it's got the right kind of earth. When I say earth, I mean that it's got the trees, and it's got the soil, and it's got everything that the earth element should give you. The stone, if you see the large slabs of stones which have been placed on top of each other with such precise geometry, and how did it happen at that point of time is yet to be explained. So there are also some occult temples, I believe, but I don't know about occult, so I won't comment on it. But if you are knowledgeable and if you know what it is, then that's something of interest to you. And then there are these ancient statues which are still there in these temples. And then there are these little lads who play around, grow up to be spiritual people, to get into their regular life and livelihood. But the basic connect is never lost. So when I'm talking about inner stillness, can you find children here today in Delhi who can sit in one place and say, I'm okay, I can sit here for days together? No, you can't. Yeah, they can sleep. Yeah, I have my son who can sleep for hours. Yeah, oversleep. And then, so I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm saying that if you can be patient and if you can sit still in a place like that and get engulfed by the energy, is something that will take you through a different realm of intelligence. Your intellect will be different. You'll be able to see things in a different light. You may not know that much. You may not know, your knowing will be different, but your knowledge patterns might be a little less or more. It doesn't matter. But your knowing will be slightly more high. This is, you can see that there's a little picture of a sadhu who's basking in the sun. And he's sitting in the sun and absorbing all the energy, the sun energy and the energy which is reverberating in this area. These are yakshas and yakshis all over the temples, which would ward off an evil eye, and there are different scientific reasons for having yakshas outside the temple doors. There's a lot of Buddhist influence. This was also the traditional route to Mansarovar, to Kailash. And this was also the place for Buddhists to come and sit and meditate and transit through. So like I said, that many yogis, many Buddhist people, many tantrics have done their work here. So it's like how my guru says that people have laid their eggs there. And these eggs have the knowing and the intelligence which will continue to expound its knowledge to all those seekers who will be here. This is Dandeshwar. It is probably Uttarakhand's tallest temple, and again a place which does not have a linga, but it's reverberating with energy. So this is the Dandeshwar temple, one set of temples. When you enter Jageshwar, this is the first set of temples that you come across. And then there are some temples surrounding this area which are full of energy. Let me quickly show you a video which will be of interest to you. Okay, what Jageshwar is about.
क्या बताऊँ अब अपने घर के बारे में मैं क्या बता पाऊँगा आपको कि कैसा लगता है? अच्छा लगता है। ये सारी जो चीज़ें हैं, हर दिन जब मैं निकलता हूँ तो मुझे तो कुछ नया ही दिखता है। और कैसा लगता है मतलब ये तो सवाल होना ही नहीं चाहिए ना।
There is something unique that Jageshwar inspires in its people. I think I can feel it too. In just 3 days, I have become one of the locals. These pristine deodar forests, the constant sound of running streams, the sweet, flawless air. I seem to have arrived at the source of a deep, healing sleep, of refreshed thoughts and a quiet sense of well-being.
कई तरह के ऋण होते हैं, तो वो ऋण अगर आपको चुकता करने हैं तो उनके लिए यहाँ पर होते हैं मोक्ष की प्राप्ति के लिए।
Divinity defines Jageshwar. Ancient stone temples tell the story of how Shiva meditated here food experience is one of reverence. Sattvic, home cooked, made with love, and some signature Kumaoni flavors. It nurtures the soul. I breathe slower and deeper, like my spirit has come home.
I hope you enjoyed the video. The intent of showing you the video was to take you further into the energy system of Jageshwar. What we do with Shiva Walks is that we take you from Delhi or wherever you want to come from, and we spend a few days with you there, usually 4 days. And then we take you through different experiences of storytelling, meditation, kriyas. I'm not a guru myself, so I only give out to you what has been allowed to give out to people by my guru. Everything else is for you to go deeper into yourself with your guru. So you got to find a guru for yourself. Either you find a guru in a book or in a stone or in a human being, or you follow my guru. And if you follow my guru, I'm happiest. And a lot happens over bonfires. It's one of the elements that's really, really important, because fire element is something that takes charge of everything that you do. If you must have remembered that, when you were children and you sat around bonfires and, somebody from the house would tell you stories, you still remember them. You can't forget those stories. Because why? Because they've been deeply embedded with you. You can never lose them. So this is the power of fire. When we have 5 elements, you change one element, the other 4 change. You change your space. In Hindi we say hawa pani badlo. So what they say is that change your air and change your water, and your other 3 elements will change. When you say change your space, so when you change your space, when you go from here to there, you suddenly feel that you're refreshed. There's something which is off your burden, off your shoulders. Your burden is over. Why? Because your 4 elements have changed. Your body is behaving differently. Your breath pattern has changed. Your spirituality or your receptivity or your attitude in life has changed. So these are consecrated areas where things become far more easy. When we were looking at the rain has its own charm because the water molecules behave differently. They help you carry your energy system to you, or they become conduit at a much faster pace. And then we have this area which has a consecrated Devi panel, Linga Bhairavi Devi. And when you're meditating there or you're talking there, and we do lots of bhajan and kirtan, and we've got Bhuvan, you saw in the video. He's the man who will recite mantras to you and shlokas to you, right? And then it's very interesting. I must tell you about mantras and shlokas. Mantra is about its lay, its way of chanting, its sound, its energy system. You don't need to understand mantras. Shlokas you might want to understand. A lot of people say, "Oh, but I don't understand this mantra, so why should I utter it?" It's the quality that you imbibe. you get into the space of that mantra, and that mantra works for you. For example, if my name is Mohit, why is my name Mohit? Yeah, because there's certain amount of sound attached to it, and that reverberates with me, and which is why the pundits in our culture would take out the first alphabet and say, let's name your child with that alphabet, because it reverberates with the energy system. Okay, so there's a huge science behind it. If you want to go deeper into it, you to understand that. So this little yoga hall, it can take in about 6 to 8 people easily when you do your yoga and meditation. And it's surrounded with devdar trees, and there's a little house there. It's a very immersive experience because there are no boundaries. It's not a resort. You don't go to a resort where you sit down and you say, okay, I am within these walls. Yeah, so there's a chai shop, and there's a local house, and there's a little field, and there's everything around you. It's part of the entire ecosystem that that place has to give you. It's not about cutting yourself and saying, oh, I've come into a secure resort where I've got walls around my resort. So this is not what it is. You live in the space that is supposed to be the way it is. By the way, the resorts irk me a lot more because they have stopped in a lot of these wildlife places. I'm a wildlife buff, and in a lot of these wildlife places, these resorts have put boundaries and they don't allow animals to go through. And that is a cause of conflict. And then you have people who can sit for hours together because they have that power of stillness. And like you see the bird here and you see the lady, that's just to show you the comparison. And then there are these ancient caves where lots of people sit down, meditate, live there for short and long periods. This is a gentleman welcoming some tourists at our lodge. And this is dining room, decoratives. There's a lodge which is called Vansarai. The food that we give you is pranic, so there is no non-pranic substance. There are no onions, there are no garlic. But if you ask people how it is, and they say, "Oh, it's lip smacking. It's fantastic food." It's the cooks know what to do, so they don't give you non-pranic food. Well, these are some of the vegetables, some of the raw dishes with fruits, with sprouts, with lots of healthy diet. But if you want to have your butter paneer and things like that, that also you'll get. No problem with that. So these are some of the rooms that we have. I'm not going to spend too much time with the lodge really. There's a friend of mine who's got a little camera, and then she's out of the Jharoka, looking out of the Jharoka. And this is a team that comes every year from America to do ecotourism work, and they stay at the lodge because it's an immersive experience. This is our neighbor who does many things, and he's also got some mules to carry things up and down. So this is the view from Bridge Jageshwar, and Bridge Jageshwar is about 6 kilometers trek uphill and or downhill, and if you drive, it's about 15 kilometers. It's a place where you have Buddha Jageshwar, where avatar of Vishnu is there in form of a linga, a very powerful temple reverberating. Unfortunately, a lot of administration people, they have very little sensibilities, and they use a lot of cement sometimes, which ruin the geometry of the place. Understand that these places have been consecrated by yogis from different points of view. These temples have been constructed with some science, and we cannot just go and put anything external which spoils the originality of these temples. And then people can unwind, and then they can just fill themselves with energy again in these places. Kids in the neighborhood, and then maintaining balance. Can we do it? We might not be able to. And then the lots of trails for children, for adults. You can go and sit there, meditate, do a cookout with our team, and just enjoy the outdoors, and not be worried about wearing too many masks and worried about corona and all of that. And then there are people who are in their own stillness, their own realm, their own space, and there's nowhere to go. There's कोई मंजिल नहीं है. There's nowhere to reach, because this is what they do. This is how they are, and only I can talk about it. I can't make you experience it sitting here. You have to do it yourself. I can only tell you how still they are. This man on the right hand side, I think he passed away recently, if I'm not wrong. Bhuvan would be able to tell me if he's still alive. He's a man whose job was only to wake up at 4 o'clock, have bath in cold water, and come and sit here and beat drums for Lord Shiva. Such dedication, so much devotion, so much belief in what that place was all about, taking him from one stage to another. This is what it is. And there's Bobo on the left hand side, who's sitting his paper, who's reading his newspaper, in the environs of the temple. And then there are these communes, these houses where families live together in these ancient homes, which again have huge amount of science behind them. The way the doors are, the way these bee holes are, where bees will come into the cupboards and make their beehives to give honey to the people who host them, and to keep them safe from predators. And then the way they have these slate roofs on their heads, these are ancient architectural practices which are going away very fast. The new generation wants to be on fast track. And then talking about architecture, there are also deeper dimensions to this entire science. And you see these carved doors which have telescopic doors and high stairs. So by the time you actually go through these telescopic doors and you climb these stairs and you're gasping for breath, you've actually left your negative energy outside. And by the time you get up there, you're pure. When you enter the house, usually there would be a kitchen right there. There would be a small area to sit out, and you could be then talking positively inside the house. This is what the science of these telescopic doors was. Which of course, as they get old, we don't have the karigars and we don't have the carpenters who know the art of carving any longer. So they're being replaced by the regular doors which are available off the shelf in the market. And the slate paths or the cobbled paths, and then the terrace farming. So these are some of the sites that you'd love when you go through Kumaon. And then celebrations. Everything is a celebration in life. If you wake up in the morning, you see the sun, that sun will give you celebration. Are you celebrating the sun? Or are you just getting worried that your mobile is sending you some triggers, how many people are dying today? Well, don't worry about it. We'll see that tomorrow. Today we are okay. Today, this evening is going to show us full moon. This full moon, Chitra Purnima moon, which happened last night. And then look at this celebration. The celebration is during Holi. Holi starts 5 days in advance. Every day is Holi. Every day you can see people still going to work or doing their daily jobs, but they'll have colors made on their faces or hands, and they're okay with that. And then a lot of these, you can see that the family, Bhuvan's family, that's there. And they have a beautiful small shop called Tara Photo Studio, one of the oldest studios in Kumaon. And then you have festivals, Harela, celebrated in different ways. And you can see this naughty little girl getting herself pampered uh, by the women. And more celebration. Get ready, oil your hair, wear some nice flowery perfume, get rangoli, and spend your time doing this. And then you sit around, and then you also joke around, and with local people or tourists. It's good fun. Or if you have internet, then you can completely isolate yourself and go into Facebook. Is it worth that while? No, not really. And then that's our team. It's a team dressed up for Shiva Walks, uh, trying to give you the experience that you really be moved with. And then you have the ladies of the village. You have the first lady, that's Linga Bhairavi, who's in our yoga hall, and she's 3.5 chakras. And then you have Bhuvan's Ija, mother, cooking fantastic meals. And then you have village bells dressed up for an occasion where they're going to dance and sing and perform Kumaoni dances. So this place gets lots of gurus and spiritual mahatmas and spiritual saints. And so Swami Chidanand Swami, in one of the yoga festivals, he was there, with our team. This little temple on the left side is Betal Devta's temple. I believe it has, people say that it has a tunnel that takes you right up to village Jageshwar. Of course, it's being closed by Archaeological Survey of India, thinking that people probably have died in there or whatever. Maybe it's unsafe. And it's a great place for bird watchers. Yeah. So bird watching is one activity that brings in a lot of stillness. You got to be still. You got to have that quest for stillness to be able to bird watch. And that's a Himalayan kingfisher, and then that's me looking through the binoculars. When you're coming back when you're going towards Jageshwar from Golu Devta, you come to this place where there are these ancient rock carvings. There's rock art. So from the primitive times, ancient times. So that's another interesting stop. And there are lots of these trails where you can go trekking, full day picnics, overnight camps, and the outdoors that you want to soak yourself into. And you'd be able to enjoy photography, architectural photography, enjoy the carvings, enjoy the scenes of the houses, interspersed with their farms and the insides of the house. A lot of people, you ask them for a cup of tea, nobody is going to say no. You go in, give them something and get something to eat in return. Or maybe just go there and ask them for a cup of tea. And then right on the wilderness, you might just find a Trishul. Oh, okay, sit down there if you're a meditator. Experience what this is all about. Yeah. And sit down and see what this is. And then there are these more temples which are reverberating with energy. And then you have boo-boos sitting there with work, without work, giving you fantastic cup of tea. That's what they say. In Pahad you get TB much faster because you have tea and bidi. More sites of the Himalayas, early morning sites. Would you want to waste your time on Facebook and internet and all of that if you get all this? I don't think you would. And then Cholia dances. Let me show you another video that I made for my son. But before I do that, let me tell you what we do during Shiva Walks after this video.
wasn't really spiritually inclined, but it so happened that I sort of started making this lodge. When it got completed, this is where I met my guru, and I was introduced to him. Slowly it came to my mind that, this is where I should share my experiences with people who come here.
One major reason for me to come here was because of the yoga retreats that's happening.
When we say yoga, yoga means being in touch with nature and existence around. The whole program is woven in such a way with nature around here that we go for treks to one of the temples, then we'll do a small meditation over there. And then we'll walk down the stream. One can see the fishes, small fishes over there. It definitely gives me the opportunity to look within myself and see what I am, where I am. Then when we go around, we do some bird watching, and then you can see the diversity of the flora and the fauna that exists over here. It's really and truly amazing.
It is so mesmerizing. It's being out in the jungle, yet being so safe and completely in tune with nature.
Once you've seen to visit this sadhana hall, it's very beautiful. It's very much energized. And doing yoga and our practices there made us very much connect with the surroundings.
We'll start with the pranayama. It's called Nadi Shodhana.
We don't take large groups here. The capacity and the place is such that we don't want large numbers at any given point of time. We want one-to-one interaction with the teacher. The massages happen here. They will also move away from the regular food that they eat to more pranic, more wholesome sort of food, which will help them detox.
It's been a beautiful experience, a very holistic experience.
So friends, just wanted to let you know that, there is no need to be fearful. Understand that we have to deal with the current situation with a lot of intelligence, with a lot of awareness. Okay. So if you're intelligent and if you're aware, nothing will happen. You get swayed by whatever is happening around you through Facebook or through the numbers and through all of that. I'm not saying anything of that is wrong. Nothing. You've got to be aware. But you can't spend your time doing that. Understand that whatever is going to happen to you will happen to you if you're not aware. Understand that we are, if you say that, I'll just leave it in myself in the hands of Shiva or God, and God will do whatever it has to do. No, it can't. It will only help you when you know what you're doing with your right hand and what you're doing with your left hand. So there are conditions that have been set by nature. There are things that have been said by nature that if you do these things, then this is how it will happen. It's a full flow chart. And if you don't do this, then this will happen. If you do this, this will happen. Right? So whatever is happening to you currently, is if you're aware, then you know that this is the book that you've written. And whatever is going to happen to you, is going to be the book that's going to be written by you. So if you are clever and you understand that, then you can choose your destiny. You can choose to be where you are. Today, if I have 15 minutes, let's say, and I am getting so caught with so many things that, oh, what will happen to my business? What will happen to the people I'm supposed to support? Are my parents going to be happy? And I'm worried. What if something happens to me and I don't get an oxygen cylinder? What if I don't get XYZ medicine? Yeah. So one is that you could be bothered. The second thing is that you do your homework and you say, if I need this is my backup, right? Now I've got my backup sorted. What I'm going to do is, for the next 15 minutes, instead of getting bothered and getting all messed up with Facebook messages, I should just sit down. WhatsApp messages, I should just sit down with my eyes closed. And I know this Kriya, I know this path. I just need to do this. So what I'm going to do is, friends, help you with 1 or 2 or 3 Kriyas that I'm allowed to share with you. And I'm going to put down those names right in the end, which you can download on internet and start doing it. It will not only build your immunity, it will take your intellect to the next level. It will start to tell you whether you're fearful or where you stand today. Yeah? So your perception will improve, your intelligence will improve to take the right actions. You take the right actions, the right thing will happen with you. You take the wrong action, wrong thing will happen with you. Correct? So if you've got 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour before dinner, and you are engrossed with your telephone, can you, with your awareness, put your phone away and say, I have 20 minutes. Can I do my Kriya? 21 minutes. Can I do my Kriya? And sit with my eyes closed. Yeah. Because nothing is going to happen in 21 minutes. Only Aaj Tak and WhatsApp will give you all the news that you're looking for to mess up your mind. So nothing wrong with listening to the news, but you can't do it all the time. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to take you to Jageshwar immediately. May not be in May, but in June I will. I will take you to Jageshwar and I will help you unwind. I'll help you relax. I'll teach you whatever little I know. I'm on the path myself. So if you've got more questions to ask, just put them in the chat and I'm happy to answer. And if not, thank you for being here and for listening to me. I'm happy to, I'll put my number down as well. And I'll also put the link to Shiva Walk, which you can download anytime for more information. Here it goes. And it probably has my telephone number as well, and I'll put it down here. Most of you know me, but who don't know me can reach out to me with any specific questions that you may have related to Shiva Walks or anything. We can just chit chat as friends. No problem with that. So thank you, friends. Thank you for being here. And I will bring a different set of interesting experiences related to Shiva Walks in my next one. Keep a lookout. Thank you very much. For now.